Yeah.
Hey everybody, how you doing out there? This is your girl Angela C. Gray, and thank you for joining the Inspire Music Media Radio Network, where I am happy to be a part of this wonderful family. And you can check us out if you want to on the website when you get a chance at www.inspiremusicradio.com. And this is the show ACG Global Let's Talk, where I'm your girl Angela C. Gray. Don't forget the C. Can't forget the C. Where I'm your host, Angela C. Gray. And so I'm excited. This is my first show. Most of you know when I was on Tune In Tuesdays on Facebook Live, and I would do it every Tuesday around 7:30, 8:30. But now I am just blessed to be a part of this amazing network. And so today, this network is about having conversations, looking at things from different perspectives, looking at everybody's perspective. And so I want you guys to know how I used to do back in the day when I was on Facebook Live. And I want to talk about what perspectives mean. So I want to see if you guys are on yet, to get a few of you guys on. And if you are just jumping on, please share. Please spread the word and share for me. And I'm going to say hi to a few of y'all. Who's out there right there? Say hi to me, give me a wave or something. Let me know that you're out there. I see that Angela Jones McDowell's on there. Thank you for joining. Timothy Moore. I see some few more people coming on. So when we talk about perspectives, it's talking about different views. And when I thought about this and thinking about this, when we're talking about views, looking at things from different perspectives, we all have different perspectives. And your perspective matters. And some people in the kingdom may necessarily agree with that because there's only one way, and that's true. But when we're talking about different perspectives, we're talking about different roadmaps. For example, if I'm going to Washington, D.C., or the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., I'm coming from in Wilmington area. Someone may be coming from Florida. Someone may be coming from Kansas City. You have different directions and different journeys that you may have to come on to get to the White House, right? So we have different journeys in a different way that we have to get there. And so you have to appreciate different views from different people. I traveled this way. I had to go through this snowstorm. I had to travel through all this hurricane weather, different things like that. But once you get to the White House or once you get to the Lincoln Monument, I've been there before in D.C., when you're walking up that monument, there's only one way. You have to go up the steps. There's only one way to get up to see the Lincoln Monument, right? In the memorial. So there's only one way to get there once you're there. But the journey to get there may lead to different paths, different road maps, different destinations. So that's what I want us to think about. When we do this show, we're going to look at things from different perspectives. And although we may not necessarily agree with the other person's perspective, I think it's essential that we respect it, because in respecting that, we can help them along that journey. So when we lead to that path of righteousness or leading to that path of getting to know the Father, that we're all going down that path, right? Okay, so who's out there? I want to say hey to you guys before we jump. Hey, I see Latoya. Thank you for giving me some love. Who else is out here? I just want you guys to wave to me, say hello. I'm excited about this show. I'm really, really, really excited. Don't forget to share it. And remember, we're on Inspire. Go to the page and make sure you like Inspire Music Media Radio Facebook page, okay? All right, make sure you do that and go to the website and check it out, right? And so this is a growing thing and I'm excited about it. I really am. And we have a guest. When we talk about perspectives, there's this book, y'all. Let me tell you. I don't know if anybody's ever been in a situation where you've been at a crossroad and you're not sure which way to go. Like you're at this crossroad, should I go this way? Should I go that way? You're kind of a little lost as to what you should do. There's this book out, I promise you, and I have to repent before I even put the person on, but first let me show you, this book is called What Should I Do? Can y'all see that in the camera there? What Should I Do? And it is a practical guide for good decision making, and it is by Dr. Sonnet Ford Grant. I call her apostle, so if you hear me say that, she does have apostolic anointing on her life, and she is been profound in my walk in the kingdom and many others. And I'm so excited to have her here, and we're going to talk about this because there's a lot of times where this book can be for anybody, not just for kingdom people, but for anybody because it's very practical. And I have to say, I had this book I had it for a long time, you guys. And when I finally picked the book up, let me tell you something, I could not put the book down. I could not put the book down. So that's why I'm sharing it with you guys, because I'm telling you it's going to help you. So before I get Dr. Sonnet Ford on, introduce her and have her on and join me so that's to ask some questions, just talk more about this book and how profound it is and how good it is. Just good. I wanted to introduce you to her. There's so much I could say about her, and I've said that, but I'm going to read you a little bit something about her. Dr. Sonnet Ford Grant is a visionary, and she truly is, okay? She's an international speaker. She's been across this globe. She's an author. She's an empowerment coach. She's a recording artist, and she can sing, y'all, for real, for real. Recording artist, an actress, an entrepreneur. Her singing gift has afforded her the opportunity to open up for the Colorado Mass Choir and share the stage with such artists as the late Billy Preston, Gerald Levert, Natalie Cole, and Dove Award-winning gospel rap duo Grits, and many others, okay? She is a native of Inglewood, California, who now resides in the metro Atlanta area with her loving husband, Fabius Grant. They have 4 children and 3 grandchildren. And I am excited to bring Dr. Sonnet Ford Grant on this platform, my very first platform of this nature. Dr. Sonnet Ford Grant, are you on? Can you hear me?
I am here. Hello to everybody. Hello, Inspire Music Radio. And I'm just excited to be here with you tonight, Angela.
I'm excited to have you on here. I know you have been traveling across this country. Well, you've been traveling. So I thank you for even just taking a few minutes out of your very busy schedule to be on Inspire Music Media Radio with me on tonight. Okay. So I want to thank you. And I want to get into this book because this book is a treasure. Again, I'm going to show you guys this book, What Should I Do? And it's a practical guide for making good decisions for good decision making. And so Apostle, I want to ask you, I told you guys I was going to call her Apostle, it's Dr. Grant, but I call her Apostle. Apostle, can you share with me what it was that inspired you to write this book? What was the inspiration behind it?
Wow. I used to do a Facebook Live broadcast called Thirsty Thursday. And on there, I would feature a drink, non-alcoholic, that is. With the drink, I just shared motivation and inspiration and just gave coaching tips for people to thrive in everyday life. And it's funny because I have tried to write a book so many times prior to then. I've started about 3 or 4 books, and I know there are many more in me, but I started them years ago. But for some reason, I could never get past 3 or 4 chapters. I would get to like that 3rd or 4th chapter, and then it would just kind of dry up and cease. And so I put the pen down and just kept it moving, doing what I do. And when I started this Thirsty Thursday and life coaching and motivational speaking, one of the broadcasts I did, Making Quality Decisions. And after that broadcast, I had so many people reach out to me, email me, inbox me, and tell me how much they enjoyed that broadcast and how much they gained from listening to it. So it was about 2 weeks later after this broadcast, and I heard God say, that's what you're going to write your first book about. And I just began writing. And in the midst of it, I asked God, I said, what qualifies me to write a book on good decision making? And this is what he told me. He said, because you've made so many bad ones. He said, and because you've made so many bad ones, now you know what to do and what not to do. And you have something to share with other people. So that's pretty much what led me to write the book.
I like that you said that, because a lot of times in some of the mistakes or some of the failures or some of, like you said, the bad decisions that we make are profound in our purpose and what we're called to do, whether it be write a book or do anything that where we've struggled with or failed with. So that is amazing that you said that. I like that. God is good all the time. So as a pastor and a life coach, what is your perspective on making good decisions? And before you answer that, there was one part in the book when I was reading where you said it's not necessarily that we don't make decisions, it's that we don't make wise decisions. Can you expound upon that for me a little bit?
Right. Well, pretty much people are making decisions every day. You make a decision to whatever it is that you do, your actions during the day, you make those decisions to do that. So making a decision is not hard, but making the right decision, making the wise decision, making the decision that's needed to help you, mainly making the decision that's needed to help you progress and get to where God has destined for you to be, or to get to the place that you know you belong. So learning how to make those decisions that align with your destiny, not just making a decision, but the decision that's going to move you forward and get you to the place that you know that you need to be.
And that's interesting that you would say that. And with saying that, do you sometimes think that sometimes our emotions are the leading, is what leads us to bad decisions?
Well, let me say, definitely yes. That is actually the first chapter in the book. Emotions are a no-no. I need to say that again. Emotions are a no-no. We have emotions. God gave us emotions to be able to connect with our surroundings, but they are definitely not supposed to take the lead when we're making decisions. A lot of times we make decisions out of anger. We make decisions when we're depressed. We make decisions, when we're in a bad place, not a good place mentally, or we're feeling all of this stuff. And we make decisions based on those emotions to later find out, wow, I should have waited. I should have thought that thing out. We act before we think, when it's supposed to be the other way around. And I also say in the book, negative emotions definitely shouldn't lead us. But also one of the subchapters is good enough. Something about being good.
Good ain't always good.
Good emotions aren't always the best to make a decision out of as well, because sometimes those fluttery feelings, those butterflies, we get caught up on cloud nine, and we make decisions while we're up there. And actually, I'm sorry, it's called good ain't always good.
Yes.
And yes, I use that language. Good ain't always good. Because we get caught up on cloud nine and make a decision there. And once we come down, we realize, whoa, that was not the right thing to do. Yes. So whether the emotions are good or bad, we have to really check ourselves and not allow those emotions to lead us.
And that is very true. I think I know I've been in that situation. Have any of you guys been in that situation where your emotions have gotten the best of you and has left you in a mess? Anybody out there, please, do a like, somebody shows me something out there, let me know you're still out there. I see some of you guys already comment already. And yes, emotions are a no-no. And you're late. It's okay. We'll fill you back in, Charles D. Willis Sr. We'll fill you back in. But good ain't always good. And I remember reading that in the book, Dr. Grant, Apostle, where you said that. And he says, yes, I'm using improper grammar, but it's the truth. Good ain't always good. And I like that, because there's times even myself, I felt this high and I felt this, but sometimes you can't act off of that. You need to be sound and be what people call centered sometimes, centered and calm when you make a decision. But I also want to talk about another thing. There's so much in this book that is powerful that I also want to talk about in that chapter. there was a thing that you had, keep it to yourself. There's something I used to say a while back. I would say, tune in to KYMS, Angela. Tune in to KYMS. And for me, that meant keep your mouth shut. And I'm just keeping it plain because sometimes it would get ahead of me. So, and I like what you said in here. You were talking about on the chapter about keep it to yourself, and especially on social media platforms. Can you expound upon that part of your book for us?
Yes, keep it to yourself. One of the things I say in the book is to post or not to post. Everything is not meant to put on social media, or it's not meant to be put on blast. And I know a lot of times we get overwhelmed with things. Things may be upsetting us, and we want to tell the whole world, but some stuff is just not our business. And while social media is a great technological tool, it should not be used to spew out negativity. It should not be used to air dirty laundry. I have seen some things on social media that have just blown my mind, that I could not believe people were posting these things publicly and saying these things publicly and exposing. I mean, sometimes things do have to be said as an alert or an alarm, but most of the stuff that we're seeing on social media is just negativity. So there are some questions that I say to ask yourself before you post something. Is once I put it out there, knowing that you cannot take it back. Once it is said, you can delete the post, but somebody has seen it even by the time you delete it. And just because I feel it doesn't mean I have to say it. Will this post change the situation or make it better? Is this something that everyone needs to know? And is there a better way to handle this? So those are some questions that you need to ask yourself before posting things on social media or putting things out publicly that everyone doesn't need to know. Keep it to yourself.
That is so true. And also keeping in mind, too, that just because it's deleted does not mean that it's gone. It's still in cyberspace. And that's one
Yes.
thing I have to throw this in there for the young people that may be on or may pass through this. Snapchat, just because it's gone, don't mean it's gone. Okay, this doesn't mean it's gone. And a lot of times, even police officials have gone back and found some of these things, and these things have been done months ago, but they can go through the internet, through the cloud, as we so to speak, and find these things. So I'm glad that you put that in there, especially about social media platforms. I'm 100% agreement with you as regard as sometimes people putting things out that is not for the world to see, or to, it's just not necessary, or to hear. So, but I want to move on to chapter 5. No, not chapter 5. This is my favorite chapter, chapter 4. Now, chapter 4 for me, I call that, and you guys will hear me that is watching me right now. You guys will hear me say this a lot as we go further into Let's Talk, ACG Global Let's Talk, as this is my PM moment. And my PM moment stands for my perspective matters moment. And for me, what it was in this book was the chapter 4 when you said ask for directions. Because I'm just speaking for me, and we're going to talk about it, but I'm just speaking for me. There are times when I either asked the wrong person, or I was like, I got this. I'm good. I don't need whatever. You know what I'm saying? And didn't even see God or godly counsel. I'm just like, I got this. And so I want to talk about this chapter because this is so good. And you talk about, in one little piece of there, you talk about don't let pride be your guide. I like that. Don't let pride be your guide. And so I want you to explain it. And what do you mean when you say that? What do you believe is when pride is your guide? What does that lead you to?
Basically, what I say in the book is that, most of us want to be know-it-alls. We want everybody to think that we have it all together and we know everything and that we have our life under control. And it's really just pride. It's really just pride. But sometimes you have to humble yourself and ask questions. Sometimes you have to go to someone who may have been through what you're going through, or someone who's experienced in the area that you need to gain wisdom. The Bible says there's wisdom in a multitude of counsel. Doesn't mean you seek advice from everybody, but you find key people that you can trust, who you know can give you good information and wise information. And one of the things that I say in I say not everyone qualifies. So you should ask for direction, but not everyone qualifies. And some of the questions you should ask before approaching a particular person is, how do they handle their own situations? somebody that you've seen them act out wisdom in their own lives? Do you see wisdom operating in their life? Can they relate to your situation? And do they have a spiritual connection and not just a shallow point of view? You have to make sure that you're seeking counsel from people who see deeper than the surface, because they'll be able to help lead you and guide you better and in the right direction.
That is so good. And I think, I'm going to say these points again. And for those of you just coming on, I see a few you asked me a question. What book? I'm sorry I'm late. That's okay. We are interviewing here Dr. Sonnet Ford Grant. And the book is, she's a best-selling author. It is What Should I Do? It's a practical guide for good decision-making. And we're going through the book and talking about some powerful points. She's brought a lot of powerful points. At the end of this interview or this segment, we'll be sure to make sure that you can get more information about the book for those of you who are asking questions. I see you up there. And that's good. And there's writing out points here, Apostle. You see that everything is not meant for social media, good or bad. That is the truth, that right there. And so, so we'll talk about that. So listen, I love not everyone qualifies. And I'm going to say, I want you to say those points again for me, Apostle. And I know that, how do I say this? That there are, when you say situations, and I want to say this, can I just interject? And you can just come in anytime, is that there are a lot of us that don't know how to handle our situations, won't seek help, like you said, or we seek help from wisdom from others who we don't have wisdom in that area. It's like me going to the psychiatrist, seeing if he can fix my teeth. Right, Apostle? Would that be a good example?
That's a good one, yeah.
Right. And when you say spiritual connection and not just a shallow point of view, could you expound on what you mean by that? For those of us who may not understand.
People who are not just surface people, let me even go deeper, people who are led by God's Spirit, because that's what's going to lead you in the right direction. Amen. Not people who are just going on human emotions, and not people who are just going on surface facts. People who can dig deep and go past the surface and kind of help you see what's going on. Oh, this is good. Behind the scenes of the matter. So they can help you know how to make the right decision on the scenes.
Behind the scenes. We need to quote that. Somebody hashtag that, behind the scenes. That is good. Yeah. That is good. So we went from talking about our emotions are a no-no, keep it to yourself, social media platforms, don't let pride be your guide. If you guys don't remember anything else, we need to remember that don't let pride be your guide. Your guide should be the Holy Spirit, right? Amen. And then, okay. So then, and we talked about that. Well, let's go back to that for a second, because at the end of the book, you have some affirmations, and I'll talk about that as we get closer to that. But I like that, the GPS. You had that in the book as well. You talked about that, the GPS. Well, we have can you talk about that a little bit? Expound on that. That was a good part of the book.
Yes, it's the God positioning system. It's my acronym for God positioning system. I know it's the global positioning system, but actually there's a spirit man on the inside of you that gives you signs and gives you inkling. It's a knowing in your knower what moves you're supposed to make. Because a lot of times we second guess ourselves. A lot of times we know the answer, but we don't believe we know the answer. So we end up going another way instead of following that GPS, that inner GPS. It's a voice on the inside that's connected on a deeper level, and that can lead you and guide you. And if you listen to that voice, because that voice will usually rise up, I guess in the secular term, they say my first mind. But it's really that inner GPS that is guiding you, that is prompting you, that is giving you an inkling on how you should move forward. So I want to say, don't second guess yourself. When you feel that inner feeling, when you feel that message coming from that deeper connected place, listen to that message. Don't toss it to the side. Don't ignore it. Don't act as if it's not there. Don't second guess it, because most times you'll know, like, this is what I need to do. I was telling somebody the other day, and can I say this to you, that there's a problem solver on the inside of each one of us. And sometimes we trying to go elsewhere and find answers other places. But many times the answer for your situation is right on the inside of you. And if you'll just listen to that inner GPS, you'll be able to solve the problem without having to go to the psychiatrist or without having to ask so many different people. Because one of the things that I say in the book is sometimes we get so desperate for an answer that we'll ask any and everybody. We'll ask any and everybody. And while, yes, it's important for us to ask for directions, it's also important, or even more so important, that we listen to that inner GPS, because most times the answer is right there on the inside of us.
Yes, that's good. Can I shout, y'all? You have to excuse me. I'm about to get up and run. That is so good. And that is the absolute truth. Yes, so let's move a little bit forward because, yes, chapter 5, y'all. Chapter 5, be sensitive to life's lessons. That GPS still got me going. It got y'all going. That GPS, that is good right there. And we're going to talk about that again at the end. I'll mention that about these affirmations that you have towards the end of the book as well. But chapter 5 talks about be sensitive to life's lessons. And you talk about the testing season, the let it go season, due season. There are other seasons that are in there as well. Spiritual seasons, waiting seasons, go get it seasons. But the things that for me, and when you guys purchase this book, and I'm gonna give you that little plug towards the end where you can purchase the book, can give you those. But for me, those things stood out to me: testing season, the let it go season, and the due season. And so, how do you feel the test, Dr. Sonnet, for Grant, the testing season? How do you feel about the testing season and how it affects your decision making process? If you understand my question.
Okay, so first of all, the chapter 5 is be sensitive to life's seasons, and dealing with that, just like there are natural seasons, there are spiritual seasons, and we have to learn how to discern what season that we're in. Because if you're not able to discern your season, you can make a decision out of season, which can lead you to the wrong place. So you have to be able to pick up what season I'm in so I know the right decision to make. Just like you have a way that you dress for a particular season. And if you dress like it's summertime in wintertime, there are going to be some repercussions. So if you make a decision in the waiting season that you really are in another season, it could cause some backfire and some repercussions. So you want to know what season that you're in. And so I talk about the testing season, which is a very tough season, because in that season it just seems like things are coming out of nowhere. It seems like things are attacking you. It seems like things are coming against you, and sometimes you have no natural explanation for what is happening at this time. And a lot of times we think it's coming to tear us down, but it's really coming to build us up. It's a time, the testing season is a time to sharpen character. It's a time appointed to build strength, and it's also an opportunity to see what you are made of. It's also a lot of times we like to think we're at a place where we're really not at that place. So the testing season helps us to see where we really are. We can think we're mature, but when we go through a test to test our maturity, we'll find out. The proof will be in the pudding. So the testing season is to build character. But I also say that the testing season sometimes is a result of bad decisions that we made in the past. And because there's a scripture in the Bible that says we reap what we sow, those things come back to us. They come back full circle. But the wonderful thing is that even when they come back full circle, they come back to teach us so that we know not to go that direction again. So although the testing season is a very tough season, it's also a season to build character. So when you understand I'm in the testing season, when those things come against you, it doesn't hurt you so much. It doesn't disappoint you so much, because you know, okay, this has come to build strength. This has come to build character. And so you know what decision to make within that season that you're in.
That's good, Apostle. And it makes me also think about when you talked about emotions are a no-no, because if emotions are a no-no, sometimes we make emotions a go. And as a result, we end up in that testing season, and that's kind of connecting the dots. This book, you guys that are watching, it connects the dots, and so it brings it all together. It's like a journey that takes you to an expected end, and so I like that about that. Let's move forward and let's talk about the let it go season, on tips on that particular topic, and what is the heartbeat of that when you talk about let it go season.
Yes, so I did in the book refer to the Disney song Let It Go,"
I
because
told y'all you she could sing,
a
y'all.
lot of times I believe that song was so popular not just because it was a good tune. I believe it was popular because it was something that people know needs to be done. Learning how to let me say this, things and people go who are not beneficial to where we are going.
That's good.
And a lot of times we keep toxic people around. We stay in toxic relationships because we're scared we're going to offend people. We're scared we're going to upset people. But when you decide that I have to get to the place that I know that I'm destined to be, you have to be willing to cut people off and cut things off that hinder that. I say that a lot of times we pick up hitchhikers, people that
Ooh,
were never meant to go along our ride, but we take them on and it takes us that much longer to get to our destination. So we have to make the decision to, and sometimes I'm going to say this, and I say it in the book, sometimes it's family members, wow,
ooh,
that we have to let go. It doesn't have to be an ugly disconnection. It doesn't have to be messy, but sometimes you have to learn how to love people from a distance if they are not if they are hindering you more than helping you to get to where you need to be. So we need to learn how to cut it off, just like you have to cut off a cancerous tumor, or you have to cut off something that is cancerous before it spreads. And it's the same thing with people and things. You have to cut them off before they fester, before it spreads and ends up affecting your destiny, affecting your purpose, and affecting where you need to go.
that is so good. That thing that hit me the most is when you said hitchhikers. Hitchhikers can be toxic. People that are just jumping along for the ride. That is so good right there. So you guys make note of that right there. Don't take hitchhikers, right? Okay, so and then the last season that I want to talk about on this is the due season. And
Yes.
I like that because you talk about that. I saw a piece in that we talked about your ship coming in. But could you expound on that in that process of decision making?
So due season is what all of those other seasons are about. Due season is when you get to that place that you've been waiting on, because I talk about the waiting season when things are, it's like a big pause button is on your life, and things are not being released. But then there comes a due season. It's when your ship comes in. It's when the doors open up. It's when the breakthroughs come up.
Yes.
And knowing how to handle things even in due season, and to know that in that time, it's a time to be thankful. It's a time to remember those who helped you along the way. But it's also a time in due season you don't get complacent. You thank
Yes.
God that you've made it. You thank God that those things that you've been asking for and believing for have entered into your life, but you also don't get complacent because there's so much more. And so when you get to the place of due season, it's a thankful place. It's an appreciative place.
Yes.
And it's a place of remembering those who help you get there. Because a lot of times we make decisions to dismiss people or disregard people who have helped us to get to that due
Come on.
season. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we forget about them and we want to think that we got there all by ourselves. But that's a time, a season to be appreciative.
Yes.
It's a season to say thank you. And it's also a season to learn how to receive. Because I found out that a lot of people don't know how to receive. They've been so busy grinding and been so busy waiting and been so busy pressing that when things start to open up, they don't know how to handle it. But learn how to receive as the things are coming to you.
Yes.
You're not greedy, but you're learning how to open your arms and receive all of the good things and all of the blessings and all of the answers and all of the things that you've been believing for. You learn how to open yourself up to them and receive.
That is so good. I think the thing that stuck out the most for me is the appreciation and receive. And that is so true. I know so many people, especially people of God, that have this thing about receiving and being, it's okay, and being appreciative of the season that you're in and receiving. So that is really, really good, Apostle. I want to thank you for that. But let me tell you what blessed me. This whole book blessed me. But at the end, when I read at the very back of the book, you have affirmations. And you had 10 affirmations. And I'm not going to give the affirmations because if you need it, you need to get the book. if you want to get all the affirmations. But one of my favorite personal favorite is I follow the directions of my inner GPS. That was my
Yes.
favorite, my God positioning system. There's 10 of them. And I'm sure when you get the book and you say those things, there'll be a blessing to you. And Dr. Graham, before we close out, I want to ask you a question. What was your favorite affirmation in the book? And why do you feel it's important to make daily affirmations?
Yes, I want to say that, but I wanted to go back real quick for due season because I also wanted to just let
Okay.
people know that sometimes the things that you've been waiting on, when they come, they don't look like what you've been expecting.
That's right.
And sometimes if they don't look like what you've been expecting, you'll make the decision to reject them. But that's how you have to know, be discerning and know this is the answer. This is what I've been waiting on. You ask God for wisdom and ask him to open your spirit up to really see that even though it may not come packaged like you were expecting it, that it is the right answer and it is the thing that you've been waiting on. So I wanted to share that. Just because it doesn't look like the answer
Doesn't
doesn't
mean it's
mean
not.
it's not the
So just
answer.
because it
So I
doesn't
want,
look like it's the due season, it's the right one, but it is. And you have to know
yes,
that. That's good.
yes. Okay. So I want to share two affirmations. One of them is wisdom is my friend. To daily say that because a friend always sticks by you. A friend walks with you. A friend is there for you. A friend blesses you. So when you daily say wisdom is my friend, it keeps wisdom right there with you. It keeps you open to wisdom. It keeps you open to recognize, to receive, and to hear wisdom. So that's one of my
That's
favorite
good.
ones. But I'm going to tell you, I think my absolute favorite is I handle making decisions like a boss. That's my
Oh, I
favorite
love it.
one.
Like a
Yes,
boss.
like a boss. And when you say that affirmation, you can't just say it nicely. You can't just say,
You got to be
I
ugly with it.
handle each day or I handle decisions like a boss. You have to say,
Like
like
a
a boss.
boss. Y'all say that wherever you at. Say like a boss. Okay.
Yes, you have to get ugly with it. But everybody wants to be in charge. Everybody wants to feel like they're on top of their situation, like they're on top of what's going on. And so when you say I handle each day like a boss, certainly we know that we, those of us who are in the kingdom, are not in charge of our
Right.
lives, but that God has given us dominion.
Yes.
And so that means that we're bosses, you
That's
know, and so
right.
we have to learn how to make decisions like we're in charge, learn how to make the decisions based on the dominion that he's given us. So I really like that one.
I like
But
that
make
one
sure you
too.
say it the right way when you say it. That's right.
That's right. Giving honor to God. Yes, that's right. Okay, so you guys, this is what I wanted to share with you guys about this book. So if you want to get this book, Apostle, is it available? Where do we get it? Can you share with them where we can get it? And maybe I'll put a plug in a little bit later on. I'll put a plug in where you can get this book.
Yes. So you can get the Kindle version on Amazon. So you just, what should I do? A practical guide for good decision making, Sonnet for a grant. You can get the Kindle version on Amazon, and you can get the print copy from my website, which is www.sonnet, SONNET, forwardgrant.com. And I'm going to tell you, Angela, I'm amazed at the response that I've gotten from this book, from mayors, from senators, from judges, from radio personalities. Just, I'm just amazed at what God is doing, because one of the things that you said is this book is for everybody, because everybody has to make a decision on a daily basis. And it's just an awesome tool to have in your hand to know how to move forward with whatever situation that you're dealing, whatever situation, be it financial, be it relational,
Whatever.
be it what school to go to. I mean, this book can kind of give you tips on how you can arrive at the right answer.
And when you pick it up, you guys, you will not be able to put it down. I'm telling you. I had it
And you're
for a
not the only
while.
one who
I got my own
said
personal signed copy. I'm gonna just put it out there before Dr. Grant puts it out there. I had my own personal copy for a long time, y'all, and it just sat on the bookshelf in the study. And then finally, when I picked that book up, I was like, "Oh my!" And I called her. I said, "You know what? I'm repenting right now because I've had this book, but this is good. I'm already on. I could not go to bed. I had to read the book. Like I stayed up reading that book. So yes, I'm telling you guys, go get it, and I will plug in and I'll make sure you get that information right. So, but I wanted to also put out, go to her website. She is, let me tell you something about Dr. Sonnet. She is very humble, but I'm telling you, her nickname is Fireball, y'all, because she is small in nature. But let me tell you, once you hear her, and you've heard her a little bit, hear her preach and teach, then I'm going to tell you. She has 15 years of pastoral experience that qualifies her and enables her to speak on variety of topics. And she promotes spiritual growth, and she also has this, since we're talking about a book, and for those of you out there who may want to have a book, she also is a book coach, and she has this thing where it's called Birth That, Apostle, make sure I say it right, Birth That Book Baby.
Birth that book, baby, push it on out.
And so she has it, and it's been proven. She has a couple of people that she's been working with, so it's amazing. So just go to her website, check her out, I want to thank you for coming on and being a part of ACG Global. Let's Talk Radio for the very first show. Thank you. I'm truly honored and humbled. And I'm also, again, make sure you go to the Inspire Music Media Radio Facebook page and like the page, and go to the website, which is inspiremusicradio.com, like that. And also, you guys, go to my page, go to your girl's page, Angela C. Don't forget the C, Gray, and like my page too. I have a professional page and I have a personal page, and I'll send you, if you need to find me, you'll easily find me. I'll share it with you. Inbox me, and I'm so grateful that you guys will come on, and I'll be back very soon. Again, Sonnet, Dr. Sonnet, I'm going to say it right, Sonnet, like bonnet, Sonnet Ford Grant. I want to thank you again for being on.
Yes, thank you.
And I love you.
Okay. I love you. I'm excited about what's happening in your life, and in Barbados, they say mobileton. That means a whole bunch. So may you have a mobileton of blessings upon everything that you do.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right, you guys, I'm signing out. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. You guys have a great week, okay? All right, bye-bye.